Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald, Jamie Pluff,
Here.
Greg Demontier,
Here.
Carol Langford, Danielle Matt, Bing Matt, James Steele Jr., Martin Charlo, Len Tooteeth,
I'm here.
Lanesh Trahan.
And Martin's walking in. Stephen, will you give us a prayer this morning?
I asked the Creator to help us out, to have a good day, to listen to all our problems, try to help each other. The school is ending now, so let's have a good summer and have a good day today. Lemlem specia.
Lim. We have minutes from May 26th. Motion by Len to approve the minutes from May 26th. Go ahead, Danielle.
Mr. Chair, I'll second just with a correction if that's okay on page 4. It just is, it's the reason he wants to offer awareness. And then the way that it's written, it sounds like he wants to offer sex trafficking and self-defense training, but it, yeah, just needs a little edit there so it reads the right way.
So second by Danielle to approve the minutes with the addition. All in favor? We're unanimous. You have an agenda for today? Anybody? The additions for the agenda? Danielle? Len? We do have 3 walk-ins. If there's nothing else, we'll have a motion for the Danielle. Motions to accept the agenda with additions. Second by Carol. All in favor? We are good. We'll go to our walk-in. Stephen, come on up. Good morning.
Okay, dem special trooping. I'm here to represent in Kusum. It's that time of the year again to have a powwow. So I was just across the road there for Two Eagle River. It looks like they're having a lot of fun. And anyway, when I was at 400 horses, somebody told me I was related to the 400 horses descendant, the last of descendant of small salmon beaverheads. I don't know if it's true or not. So I was going to check up on that. So the thing is, it's something, celebration that's been on 24 years. Next year is going to be 25 years for Nkusam. Yeah, it's been a long time, it's just goes on and on and on. The kids when it first started, there was 3 kids. Now we got 52 kids, and they're all grown up and have kids, and they come to school at Nkusam, and it's really something. And we lost our language 3 years ago, and we had some great leaders, Pete Beaverhead and all those elders, and they used to tell me we're going to lose our language and our Indian ways. And at that time, there were so many elders. I say, nah. I remember we all went to church and jump dances, and the powwow was very small. There was only a couple drummers there, I remember, and 9 pipes was, and one from Browning. And today, a powwow celebrations, they used to call it, it's pretty good size now, and it's kind of come a long ways, come a long ways. And I went to Pierre, South Dakota when I was very young, and went to the Ursulines and went to Lawrence, Kansas, Haskell. I graduated there, played basketball for Haskell. And the thing is, today I think back on it, and I am 87 years old. I didn't think I'd ever make that. I didn't even think I'd reach 50. Today I'm just happy that I reached that age and still good shape, running and things like that. And the language, our language is pretty tough language. And today, my elders, Alexander Beaverhead and Pete Beaverhead, and those were my teachers years ago. And they talk about Pondereys, How did they get that name? Where did they come from? What was that? And today I think about Ponderay. people, it just seems like it's always Salish and Kootenai, and it should be on the way in there someplace, we got that, that thing wasn't even up there, our chief, until Joe Durglo was here, then he put that up. I still remember that, and the thing is, thank you. I'll vote for you when you run again. I got a lot of followers. Thank you, damn them. Yeah. So anyway, going back to the tribe, and that, and I always believed that pond rays were here first. My elders told me, and today, when I went to the 400 horses, I didn't believe I was going to get to say a prayer. I didn't know I was going to sing a song, a different song, and I just took my drum down there and sang a song, and this guy come and told me, he said, you're a descendant to that 400 horses. All these years, I didn't think so, and I danced all over Canada, uh, uh, all over the place, and it was good. I got to see a lot of country in Canada, and to dance and to be somebody, and the language. I didn't think I'd ever use my language. Uh, Pete Beaverhead, and my mom and my dad were split up years ago, so I had Pete Beaverhead for my kind of my dad. I leaned on him and taught me all these words, and they were all medicine people, they were Blue Jay, and I was in there. I'm not saying I'm a Blue Jay now. I'm just saying they were medicine people. And I grew up kind of in boarding schools. And years ago, we had where we lived, it was a quarter mile, maybe more than that, up on the hill where I live now. It was quite a ways to catch the bus and getting up early in the morning, And my mom, there was this time my mom, after my grandfather died, he had a lot of land, and we lived pretty good until he died. Then it was kind of rough after that, catching the school bus, and it was cold in those times. So Mrs. Shipman was kind of. I don't know what was she. She made sure you went to school. If you didn't go to school, she would send you away. In those times, you had to go to school. So she went and talked to my mom. That's how I ended up in Pierre, South Dakota. Talked to my mom and said it was easier for me to go to Pierre, South Dakota. So they shipped me out to Pierre. And after that, then the Earth Lines. Then after that, I went to Haskell on my own. So I went to Haskell, played basketball up there. I was a freshman. I was a freshman. That's when they had the Haskell half that was high school, and the rest was postgraduate. So I spent 4 years up there going to school. Then after that, then they wrote me a letter to go into service. And I come back and I told Mom, I said, well, I guess I'm going in the service. Then at that time, we'd go to Butte, Montana, to join up. And all my relatives, Kashulas and Woodcocks, they all went in the service. So I said, boy, I'll be lucky if I go. So I went signed up and they didn't take me. They said I had weak knees. I danced all my life. I was at tracks, doing the track and everything. So they turned me down and I worked in sawmills when I got back. But I'm just telling you a little bit about myself. Of course, I was an alcoholic and went to Galen and I sobered up there and worked in the woods for 19 years. But anyway, then my language, I remember at that time they were hiring these schools to for language. I think they just hired us as Indians to be babysitters. So I signed up for it, and Pablo and Ronan, and my wife turned around. He said, I don't know how long you're going to last. You probably only last a couple of days. The language here, it's been 23 years. I don't know when I'm going to win. And today I'm really proud of my language. That was my first. I remember Enkasholas, Woodcocks, you go all over. They all talk Indian, just Indian. Elders, you go in there, you talk Suryapi, they kick you out. But anyway, today, my 23 years, teaching the language and the Indian, doing buckskin and teaching all this other stuff, making outfits for children, and it's pretty nice. We come a long ways. And first year I went down to Arley to get on for the language. Ticini Pete was running it then. And he didn't have enough money. He said, wait till next year, maybe we'll have enough. So next year I got on and I've been there for many years. And now today they won't even let me retire. I'm the only one left. Teaching Indian. I'm a full-blood Ponderay. So I come a long ways in my times, and I didn't think I'd live this long. So today, I'm proud for everybody that teaches, the language, Elmo, New Eagle River, Ronan, Mission, Longhouse, and Kusum, of course. So everywhere I go, I talk about Kusum, and things like that. And one time I stopped at a restaurant and the white guy come out. He said, what does that say on your license plate? Is that Wassam? They forgot to put that little Glen on it. I said, no, Kusum, Wassam. So anyway, today I'm here. I thought I'd just let you know who I am. So today and she got me in the movies. Carol and today I'm on Buffalo Days, DAVZ, and it's a good movie. It's on today. Now it's on Yellowstone, 1923, and The Last Beyond, and about 3 other movies. But anyway, I just don't ride a horse, you know. So anyway, today I'm just here to bring these posters. We're having a powwow tomorrow again. Oh, you want to shake hands? I'll keep a few of them. I hope I got enough. And it starts tomorrow. And I would wish you guys would come down. I would show you in Kusum, you know, the building. It's come a long ways, you know. You know, Cheney's been doing some work on that and getting grants and fixing it up, you know. Doesn't look too good on the outside, but when you go inside, it's a different, you know. It looks different. So we'd like you guys just keep it. I got some here. When the elder tells you something, you have to do it. So anyway, I'd like you guys to come up and enjoy our powwow, our celebration, and look at the building. Maybe we could take you around and show you the new things that we did to the building. You know, that's buildings come a long ways. You know, and we'd sure appreciate if the council would come up and get and eat our donuts. You know, and so that's why I'm here for. I told Cheney that you make sure you're up there, you know, and then we start in and we'll have a good powwow. So, and it's good to be here, and I hope I'm trying to reach 92. My grandfather Alexander was 92 when he died, you know. So I'm trying to reach 92. You keep giving me these donuts, I'll make it, you know. Yeah. And when I die, I'll remember you, you know. You know, I don't know who you are, but you always give me donuts, and I sure appreciate that, you know. And Carol, you brought me a donut, and I noticed you brought the biggest one, you know. So I'm happy to be here to talk to you and come tomorrow, you know. Enjoy it, you know. And it's too bad that we had our graduation last night. It was something that one of the teachers had to do something, so she couldn't be there. And little kids, they really enjoy it, you know. And graduation and having fun, you know. And during the summer, we got some other things to do in Kusum. We'll be traveling and going places, you know, for the kids, you know. So anyway, that's all I got to say. You guys have a good day and a good summer, and enjoy the summertime. I had to bark at her. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Love lives,
yes, yeah.
Stephen. Always good to hear about
What?
Kusum's.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. No. Got a poster in one of the bathroom, and I said they made a mistake. They're supposed to put it in the women's bathroom. I don't know what's his name, but I know he's hiding back there. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. We'll go to our next, Tristan Lindquist.
I have Casey Ryan on too.
Casey's in charge of this. Morning, Casey.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Members of council.
So the whole bathroom thing was, I said, the picture on there looks just like him. He should look at it. But anyway. So, on the water project, I never get nervous until I come see you guys. But, I am the only tribal member bidding on the phase 5 and 6. And I've got my numbers and stuff here too. I just, through all the vendors and stuff that I went through, these are the numbers that I got, but I know that I can look for different vendors and try to get the cost down. If I am too high, I'd like to have the chance to at least match. If you guys want to take a look at these. Today it closes.
Yeah. Casey, where is the bid process at?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So bidding is currently open. It's been open a month now, and bidding closes at business today. So we've been in contact with Mr. Lundquist here since the bidding process.
See, those bids don't come directly to us.
Yeah,
They go through Doer.
yep,
And
but
then-
no, I just gotta put, this is my proposal, I gotta give it to them today, turn it in. But I was just here to tell you guys that we've had all these meetings and, I've been to every one of them. I'm just letting you guys know that I am the only tribal member here for this. And we are gonna use, we'd like to use 100% of our people for this, but I've got superintendents, and all of that too that we're gonna use. And I think there's, with the company that I work with too, we've got a total of like 80 people, but like I said, we use as many people as we can with our tribe for this.
Expecting that you'll put your bid in. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, maybe you got it.
With it.
Maybe you got the bid. I mean, we don't know until,
No, I know. I'm just letting you guys know, because I mean, we've had all these meetings for, you know, us to get it. So, and that's all I'm here for, is just to let you guys know that we do have somebody here from our tribe.
yeah,
So,
okay. I think Casey's on it. He's trying to do everything he can to hire rivals.
okay,
We actually just went on a field trip yesterday on that whole
Up there?
project, and that was so cool. The whole thing, the restoration, you know, where they're putting the pipes in, and
mhm.
pretty darn cool.
Daniel?
I guess, I think his request is that if he didn't get the bid, if he could match that bid. Casey, is there anything written in this one, or will there be something written into the future ones where our tribal members can match those bids?
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Councilwoman Matt. So we do follow the Indian Preference Ordinance on every single one of our projects. So if a member bid is within 10%, they would have the opportunity to match.
Thank you for clarifying, Casey. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to see you're here and that you are getting a bid on this. That's cool.
it's a
Appreciate
big
that.
project.
It is.
So it's a lot of money, and I know it's the 10%. If I'm within 10%, I have a chance to match, which with the numbers that I've gotten from the vendors that we have for the valves, everything for the poly pipe, let's just cross our fingers that we're there. So,
Good luck.
all right, thanks, guys.
Very much. Good luck.
Their next walk-in is for executive.
We will go out of regular into executive.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Carol.
I got something from Sierra Masila, and it was a video. And I think we were in executive session and we were talking about enrollment, and we were talking about Urban Bear Don't Walk. Anyway, there's a video on Facebook with Urban's, I think, Social Security. I can't see it because it's going by so fast. But I wonder who would be videoing something like that and then putting it on Facebook. And Sierra seems to say that she watches our council meetings through this process, but I don't know how that happens because we don't video anything. It have to be an individual.
Yeah, it would be probably through the Zoom. But we'll do a little discovery, see what we can find out.
I was going to give it to Rob McDonald, but the social security number, I guess, was clear on this thing she sent me. And that's wrong.
We'll do some discovery.
Okay.
Morning, John.
Good morning. This morning, here for approval or not of task order 322 in the amount of $1,100,051. And the task areas begin on page 6. Number 1 is door and window replacements, trying to get them finished up. Task area 2 is siding. Task area 3 is surge protectors for the HVAC units. We found with the weather that we need them quite a bit more than we used to. Task order 4 is HVAC services, and those are the areas in the amount of $1,100,051.
Questions? Great.
Yeah, so I'm assuming, or I'm asking for your clarification on this, that all of these projects are currently funded as a part of your budget and are a part of your annual work plan. And you are going to a tribally owned company to basically be the general contractor for getting all of that stuff done, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I guess what I'm curious about, and this doesn't have anything to do with you, John, but when we set it up that way and approve it that way, I guess I don't understand why we have to go back and take action on each one of these things. Either way, I'm in favor of this being done and approving the request. But at the same time, I'm suggesting that we find ways to set this up so that John can get done what he needs to get done with the tribally owned company that we own, so that this work can get done.
I got a motion by Carol to approve task order 322.
Yes, sir.
Have a second, Greg? Second from Greg. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
John.
Like we have Sean up next, huh? Morning, Sean.
Morning, council. Thank you for having us. My thing is real simple today. It's The Rocky Mountain Research Station, every year they come to forestry to remeasure their forest inventory analysis plots within the reservation. This year, I think they're doing about 5 or 6. And yeah, they just are requesting access to permission to access our tribal lands. When they give us our plots, we look at them, verify, make sure that they're not in tribal member only areas. The one plot that was denied for them was in one of those areas. The other plots that we approved are not within those areas. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Like I said, they come back every year around this time.
It was interesting. Danielle had a question this morning about what do they do with these inventories?
Well, so the FIA plots are very similar to our CFI, the continuous forest inventory plots that we do here. We remeasure every 10 years on the reservation. The FIA they're more scattered. They're one plot every, I believe, 6,000 acres. So they're really good for monitoring landscape changes, especially like climate change patterns across landscapes over time, because they have plots located throughout the United States. So it's really good data for that. But for more specific data, like if you're going to try to use it for data within the reservation, it's not enough data. Our CFI is a lot better, but even that there's some deficiencies there because for CFI, we have one plot every section, so that's one plot every 640 acres. So if you have one plot in a clear cut, then you have, according to the data, you have a 640 acre clear cut. So it's useful info for planning and stuff like that, but it's not good info for actual timber analysis. Yeah.
So it's useful for them, but how is it useful for us?
So we generally don't use their data, but we do with their like health and disease and stuff. They send us info on different patterns that they're noticing. So it's not very. It's real honestly, it's not very useful for us. And trying to get like if you wanted to get access to a plot, like if you wanted their XY coordinates, that's a whole nother issue.
Danielle?
I guess when I read here how the data is used, it says to support those who provide design and implement services and policies that impact private forest owners, including government agencies, landowners, and et cetera. I mean, it's assisting the government in creating policies. And as we know, most of the government policies don't work for the Indian.
No.
But I guess it doesn't sound like there's any big benefits for CSKT to continue in this study. Are there any negative impacts if we don't do it?
No, there's none. Like I said, they have a plot every 6,000 acres, so it's not like a lot of data, and it's not. The only thing that would be negative is I have to come back here every year for this and to take up your guys' time. And honestly, to me, I think it's I think it's a waste of council time. Me coming here every year, but I do it. It's fine. Nice to say hi to everyone, right?
Len?
Just based on our policy, it's these types of requests should be going through our independent review board first. And then they could come in and tell us exactly why, rather than you coming in every year because anyway, I just wanted to mention that process is in place.
Maybe I should reach out to Mattea and Stacy.
They're not interviewing people, are they?
No, not at
So
all.
then
They're just going out and
wouldn't
measuring
apply because
trees.
that's for human subjects.
Yeah.
Greg?
So this has been, USDA has been doing this for a number of years, and the tribal council has been approving that each year. Has it caused any hardships for anybody? Has there been any problems with it? So basically, USDA is trying to gather as much information as they can, including from tribal lands, for a broader set of purposes, not just specifically for the tribal lands that they are surveying, but for surrounding lands, including what USDA is responsible for, which to me is a responsible practice on the part of USDA. So for that reason, I think we need to figure out a way to be able to move forward with that. I agree that it doesn't make sense to be coming back here every year, but I would just like to note that this is the U.S. Department of Agriculture, right? We don't have a tribal Department of Agriculture. And it strikes me that these types of working relationships with USDA should be set up under an MOU with them, and that we need to have a tribal counterpart, if you will, to the USDA to be able to affect and to develop those working relationships, not just for their benefit, but for our benefit as well. If we don't develop the relationship, it's not going to happen in a healthy fashion.
I do believe that this is a bit of cooperation that we make with the Department of Agriculture. I think that's a good thing. It's my understanding the plots are not the same every year. And so it is important that we review which plots they are, just in case they are in restricted areas. And so it does need to come to us every year.
Okay, yeah, good point. Yeah.
And I definitely support doing it. I just as a cooperation with the Department of Agriculture. So I would welcome a motion. Motion by Carol to approve, second by Greg. All in favor? Got anybody opposed? I think we're unanimous.
All right, thank you. And on a side note, I just want to say my thanks to council. Every year you guys donate a Pendleton for our raffle at the ITC symposium that supports our Truman Picard Scholarship recipients. So, Lynch, have a good day.
Thank you, Sean. Tabitha, Brian, and Rusty. I see Rusty and Brian. Come on up. There's Tabitha. Morning, Tabitha.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Looks like Brian and Rusty are getting situated, so I'll get started and then pass it to you guys if there's any other things you want to add. So we came to the council last fall in September and asked for approval for an agreement and a resolution in regards to the Jocko Spring Creek mitigation project. Since that time, the restoration project has been completed and constructed as designed and as planned. And then also since that time, the Department of Transportation has approached our partner, Freshwater Partners, to purchase stream credits. So in the fall, we established everything as a wetland mitigation site. And since then, the MDT has a need for stream credits as well. We were aware of that potential, so we did things to prepare for that in the fall, but we didn't establish the site for stream credits until we knew more details about what they would need. And so now they're ready. They've given the number of stream credits they need. We've got a proposal in place. So through the spring, I actually worked with Chelsea Colwyn. She's on sabbatical, so Brian had worked closely with her as well. So he's here in case there are questions about kind of the changes that we made. But in general, the agreement and the resolution will need to be modified if the council agrees that we can allow stream credits at the site along with the wetland credits that have already been authorized. Basically, I'm here at the second paragraph, but the basic changes that were made in both documents were updated all the language to include stream credits, and then added the appropriate reference to the Rivers and Harbors Act throughout the documents. We updated reference to the 1999 Wetlands Conservation Plan because the tribes adopted a new conservation plan since last fall. So we updated all those references. Additionally, there was an error in the initial resolution that stated that the property was in trust. And so it was actually in fee simple. So that's been corrected in this version. And then we just updated some contact names for the tribal positions. So those show up throughout both documents. I just gave you the clean versions, but if you needed to see any of that, I have the tracked changes available if you had specific questions. But I don't know, Brian, are there other things that you were wanting to make the council aware of?
No, I don't have anything to add. If anyone's wondering, the land status issue, that was also reflected on the GIS map, the reservation map. It had shown in trust and everyone assumed that was right. We found out it wasn't. So that's also been corrected by GIS folks. But that's just a side note. I don't have anything other to add unless anyone has any questions, Tabby.
Questions? Great.
Yeah, I apologize if I'm taking the tribal council down a wormhole because of stuff that I don't understand, but who is Montana Freshwater's partners? Are they a state organization, a private organization?
Yeah, Tabby, do you want to answer that?
Sure. They're a nonprofit organization, so their whole mission is to meet the need in the state for compensatory mitigation needs. They're the only provider in the state, and so they basically do restoration projects. They work with landowners to do restoration projects that you can document all the changes in wetlands and stream benefits, and then they sell those credits to people who have a need for the credits because of impact. So one of their primary clients is the Department of Transportation, but they also work with private landowners and other, counties and things like that. So when we presented initially to the council, I believe that was before you were on. So the clients for them here are on reservation clients. So it's the county, it's Lake County and MDT for impacts here on the reservation. So they approached the tribes because they wanted to meet those needs here locally on tribal lands. Yeah, does that give you a good enough answer?
Well, let me ask it this way. Do we have a private entity selling credits on tribal resources to non-tribal interests?
Yeah, so they're selling credits. Yeah, they are. They're selling the credits for the restoration on tribal land, and then the tribes are still the land manager, and the tribes will still be the tribes will then, after like the 5-year period, the fisheries program will completely take over the wetland restoration site. But yes, I think so, unless Brian sees the answer to that differently.
It might be helpful. So yeah, Tabby's right. And your question, I think, was answered by her. The way that Les and Tabby and Rusty and the team had explained it to me when I first started with this was they were attracted, and correct me if I'm misstating anything. This was attractive because under this scheme, a restoration project that the tribes had either long wanted to do or were really wanted to accomplish is going to be paid for by a bunch of other people through this scheme. So, but also to your point, when the tribes are selling, they're working with Montana Freshwater Partners to do the rehab work the tribes wanted done or want to have done there, using other people's money that they have to cough up because of wetland or stream mitigation requirements. But the other part just escaped me. Oh, to your point about this being tribal land and other people selling credits, part of what is built into this, and Tabby, Rusty, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was specific recognition that basically people are using tribal land. And so there's not a lease payment, but there's a payment structured into this that I think is intended to kind of capture that commercial aspect. If people are doing something commercially on tribal land, the tribe should benefit from that. So we can get the details for you. And I think this is also maybe a broader conversation because there are other places that I think there's been discussion about doing the same thing, using them as kind of mitigation banks for other people to give the tribes money or do restoration work in similar schemes. So I think this is it's a bigger conversation too.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, our history in working with either the state or the federal government is just populated with all kinds of data points where the work that is being done is a good thing, right? And so the tribe goes along with it. And in the process, and because of the working relationship that is set up, we end up being compromised, or it's being suggested that we have relinquished some jurisdiction or right or whatever to that. And so it's kind of an encroachment that has taken place over time. And I just want to make sure that we are not moving forward with something that has encroachment as a part of it. So it is a broader issue, a legal issue that probably needs to be discussed, because it isn't just with this project. And this is a good project, and there's every reason to support it. We just need to figure out a way to do that so that we don't have that encroachment element that erodes the tribal position on these areas.
Yeah, I hear you, and I don't think this is presenting those issues. I mean, whenever you have, you know, a federal nexus or something, I hear what you're saying. I'm not discounting it. I don't think that's present here. Certainly in like somewhat like rights of way, I think is a great example under past federal court decisions. That encroachment issue has been a problem. I don't think that's present here. Just to that point, this agreement does make clear, you know, for instance, that tribal law governs all of these transactions, and tribal court is the venue for that. I think this is different than some of the things that you're talking about, but the point's well taken.
Yeah, well, it may or may not be, depending on how we view the access granted to the state on the east shore of Flathead Lake that encompasses miles of tribal lakeshore, and that doesn't occur anywhere else around the entire lake. So that's an example of, yeah, it's a good thing, right? Let's get a paved road between Polson and Big Fork. And it turns into a huge loss, if you will, of tribal resources. So, you know, doing a good thing in a bad way results in a bad thing.
So what's being asked here is to rescind 25-165 to accept the resolution as in place and accept the modification to the agreement. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
I need a motion. Motion by Carol to move forward, rescinding 25-165 and replacing it with this resolution and this modified agreement. Second by Bing. All in favor? You in there, Daniel? We're unanimous. Thank you, Tabby.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Justin. Brian.
Thanks.
Morning, Greg. Oh, you got something else, trustee?
I do. I've got a separate issue starting on page 57 of your packet. This should go pretty quick. So good morning, Chairman Dolson, fellow council members. I've just got a quick. Yeah, sure. All right, thanks. About a year ago, I started some conversations with Ben Montgomery and Anna Elbon in the NRCS office here in Tribal Lands about some funding that the NRCS had available for doing certain land management, revegetation, weed management type activities on some of our fisheries mitigation properties. So we, as we discuss the kind of the confines of this contract funding, we decided to look at using this funding on our Squeaquy fisheries mitigation parcel, which is at the very north end of Shaw Flats, just south of where Ravalli Canyon comes out into Shaw Flats, and it's been in our ARCO fisheries mitigation inventory since 2007. It's about 465 acres in size and has the Jocko River running through it. And a lot of the 465 acres there is former ag fields that we've been slowly working towards, turning into more riparian wetland type habitat. And this funding through this EQIP contract, it's Environmental Quality Incentives Program, is what EQIP stands for. It would essentially fund the tribes and the fisheries program approximately $20,000 a year over a 3-year contract period, and would assist with those revegetation, land management, and weed management projects that we're already doing on the Squeaquy property and other ARCO properties. So this would just bolster our budget. It wouldn't require any additional staff or any amendments to our work plan. It's already work that we're currently doing. It would just give us a little bit more of a cushion in the long-term O&M fund that we use to manage these ARCO properties. So I'm in today just to get your approval for entering into this 3-year EQIP contract with NRCS.
Carol, and then Daniel.
It's probably a silly question, but you're saying you're working it back into a wetland. Was it wetland before it was eggland then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's all kind of that Jocko River floodplain habitat. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Morning, Greg.
Morning all, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairwoman and all. Let me get my section pulled up here. So I'm here for two issues. The first of which is the request for the BTFA for the reimbursement for Q2 expenditures regarding Section 7 activities. The tribes are doing those Section 7 activities, and we've agreed with BTFA to provide a copy of our expenses from January 1 in this instance to March 31. The expenses in this letter request are $7,895,317.46. It comports with this list of total expenses in section 4600, which is how we've designated those Section 7 activities. So there's a corresponding letter to the acting superintendent and a corresponding resolution that would be provided to BTFA to distribute those funds back to the tribe, reimbursing us for the activities that have already been completed.
Motion by Martin to approve the letter and the resolution, second by Greg. All in favor? We're unanimous.
The next issue is a request for the BTFA to reimburse the tribes for certain activities that occurred between the period of time where the Montana Water Rights Protection Act was signed and when we received an updated letter from the BIA Safety of Dams folks. This memo is the background of that discussion where the tribes continue to provide CSKT Safety of Dams activities on 3 different facilities, the Crow Dam Spillway, Kicking Horse Dam, and the Upper Dry Fork Dam. They did a total of $10,224,000 worth of activity. And we subsequently learned in a communication from BIA SOD that their expectation was that that funding should have come out of the Montana Water Rights Protection funding itself. So together with Greg Wilson and the Dewar folks and Ruth on my team, we looked at all of the expenses. It took us a while to get it all ironed out and tied out. We've looked at these 3 projects and the expenses associated with that, associated with safety of dams work under the CSKT activities sheet. We've looked at that total of $10,224,000. We have all the backup here. And we've been working with legal over the course of the past several months to make sure that we're fine tuning the language of the letter request that indicates that we're doing these things, or pardon me, that we had done these things or continued to do these activities during the period where the BIA Safety of Dams was not intending to fund those activities. There's going to be an ongoing discussion between the tribes and BIA SOD in this area that's not pertinent to this, but will continue to be brought forward to you. This letter is a request for the funding to come out of the water compact in the total of $10,224,803.53 to reimburse the tribes for the expenses that were accumulated and were paid during that period where the tribes were unaware of BIA SOD's cessation of funding.
Questions? Motion by Martin to approve the letter and resolution for this intern activity. Second by Carol. All in favor? Two. 7-4 and Danielle abstains. Oh, motion carries.
I know it's not on the agenda, but may I make a comment on the Medicare Part B payment for you all to have?
Please do.
We're processing a submitted and scrubbed list. We started yesterday. The total payment is about $1,085,000. The expected effective date for those receiving the payments via direct deposit should be tomorrow, Friday. The checks will go out at the close of business today or first thing tomorrow, and the U.S. Postal Service will deliver those. We've pushed for direct deposit in most instances, and that should have an effective date of Friday.
And I believe Shannon Hopkins' last day is today.
Then I'll get these letters out now. Thank you all.
We will take a 5-minute break and then we'll have the chiefs come up. 5-minute break.
All right. So good morning. I've been before you before, but I'm here today in a different role. I'm here as the interim city manager. Our city manager left, took a job in another state, kind of surprisingly didn't give us much time for a turnover. So we're exploring that now, and I felt it was necessary, and the city commission agreed to step in and fill that role to offer stability with some of our ongoing projects and continuity with a lot of the relationships that we have with other governments here. So that's what I came here to talk about this morning. And first, I want to start by saying congratulations on the 400 horses casino. I know that was a big undertaking, and trying to get everything done for that grand opening was huge. And I think it's going to be a great thing for the tribes and jobs, but also for the communities all across the reservation. I would also like to say thank you for the Sailors Point restoration on the beach and having that beach redone. It's a phenomenal beach now, and I think it's going to be great for all the families to enjoy that for years to come down the road. A couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity, fortunate enough to have the opportunity to attend the River Honoring Dinner. I've gone to the River Honoring before. That was the first time I attended the dinner. It was very, very impactful for me, and it was really inspiring to hear the honorees and the biographies of the stories that came out and what folks were doing. I say that was inspiring for me because I left there thinking, what can I do from the position where I'm at to do better for the community? And kind of reflecting on that led me back to my new role and what can I do as a city manager position, and still from the chief of police position as well. One of those things was I was in discussion with the city manager last year to incorporate a cultural leave policy into city government. Understand that we're not a tribal government, but we have tribal members employed from different tribes, and then we have non-members that are spouses of members. And being in the unique community that we're in, I feel like it's important for those employees and their families to participate in those activities separate from their regular leave. And so now I'm in a position to where we can get that addressed that we haven't had addressed before. Another thing that we implemented that I don't know why we've never done it in the past, because we have a great relationship with the tribal police, is we've given 24/7 access of City Hall and the police department to the tribal police department. So if they're on that side of the reservation, they need to use the restroom, they need to collaborate with the city officer, they just want to take a break. Probably the most important part is they take that break and they have that time to have those relationships and collaborate on different cases. Police work doesn't stop. It's 2:00 in the morning. You need somewhere to go. If you're in Polson, you can go to City Hall. So we've granted the access. We've made it open to the tribal police. Another thing that I think that we were missing, that the City Hall, city government has been missing is, and I am by no means near a tenth of the education that y'all are at the water rights level. But we do have questions about water right adjudication, water compact, and how that's going and how that looks. And for the city, they're on city water, but we have a lot of residents that also have property off the city and outside the city limits, and when the adjudication process is going through and how that looks like. So trying to come up with a information specific, accurate, specific information for members of Polson that may have property outside of Polson and in Polson for that matter. How can we get that information out to folks? And looking at your all's website, there's a valuable resource on there about the adjudication process and the Q&A on that. So I got with the communications director, Rob McDonald, I said, hey, you have a great feature on your website. Could we link that from the city pages, from the city website? So we have the same information. We're relaying the same information to the community that the tribes are, and we're filtering that through the city. And then if a resident has a concern, they can click that link, which will take them to your water rights pages, which will help them get accurate information instead of some of the dribble that they see on Facebook that confuses a lot of folks. Something else that I wanted to address that I know many of you are familiar with was the accidental drowning that we had of Memorial Day weekend. We're in the process of figuring out how we can prevent those in the future. One of the things that I'm exploring right now is putting life rings, life buoys back in the parks, all our waterfront parks that we have along the city. I'm looking at the price and the logistics and how many we'll need and how we're going to separate them and all that and get them in there so they'll be available year round for when something happens, particularly if there's nobody out there that has those resources. That's something I'll also bring to the Sailors Point Committee and see if we can help get some of those on the beachfront there as well. That's pretty much the gist of updates that I have for y'all. I just want you to know that I remain open to the communication that we've had through the years, not only just with the tribal police department, but also with the tribal council. And if there's any projects that we can collaborate on with the city of Polson, please let me know, and we will certainly carry that on.
I appreciate that report, and all of those topics are truly important. Craig, you want to add to that?
Yeah, working with George has been really rewarding. His department works well with our guys. We have communication constantly, whether it's by phone or in person or a lunch or whatever we do. He's a big part of the chief of police meeting that we have usually on a quarterly basis. He was one of the first guys that said, yeah, when I brought up the strategic plan, the first guy that backed it. So, I mean, the working relationship is really, really good. So he brings a lot to the table. Wade was good. George is better. So it's been really, really good process to go through with George. There was something that I challenged you guys on when I was in here Tuesday. I just want to know, because I said I'd follow up. How many of you have prayed for our missing, murdered Indigenous people this week so far? Did we forget? Well, I challenge you. I'm going to keep challenging you. But since I have brought that up, would it be okay with council if I led a prayer and you guys agree with me during the prayer to, if you think about the names, say them quietly in your head, say them out loud. But just remember our murdered, missing Indigenous people, the unsolved cases we may have here on the reservation, the addictions, the problems we go through. So with council's permission, I would like to lead you in a prayer.
Please do.
Okay, if we could bow our heads. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time to gather together. We pray for your wisdom, your knowledge, your courage, and strength in the things that we face each day. We ask that you would bless those who've lost loved ones recently. We ask for their healing. For those who have missing family members on our reservation, we pray for restoration. We pray for healing. We pray for a conclusion to the situation. Pray for closure. We pray for the unsolved crimes. We pray against the addiction. We pray against the brokenness in homes. We pray against the division that happens throughout. We are all one people under God. We ask you to be with us this day, Lord. You fill us with your wisdom and strength. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. I've prayed for the council a lot, and I've told you I pray for you guys every day, and I do every day. Even when I'm no longer doing this job, I'm still going to pray for you. And that kind of leads me into the next thing I'm going to say. So I talked with Rob and did the walk along with him. And I did announce during that walk along, this is my last year, and I don't even have a year left, and I plan on retiring. The department has been awesome. The people are well trained. I have a great staff, and council has treated me very, very well the last few councils. And I want to really go out on a high note. I want to end my career when things are going well. I don't want to hang on too long to where things are going downhill. And it's like, man, that guy needs to go. I don't want to do that. So I'm happy here. I could keep doing this for a long time, but truthfully, I just think we're in good hands. I think I'm going to throw the recommendation out. You can do with it what you wish. Louis Fiddler is more than capable of running that place. He's worked with me now for 27 years, almost 30 years now. And when I announced to him that I was going to start pre-retirement kind of stuff, he said, man, I don't know if he's in here. He's right there. Yeah. He said, we've been together a long time. I said, yeah, it's almost like a divorce. I mean, we have been together a long time. We've watched our children grow up. We've seen our grandchildren be born. I mean, we've watched all this stuff together. And he is more than capable of doing the job. So I've been offloading a lot of stuff to him, more and more stuff, so I have less and less to do. And I'm kind of just here as an advisory role right now. So if he has a question or whatever, he can ask. But he's a great guy. I've always said with Louis that, you know, the tribal police colors are blue. If you were to cut Louis, he would probably bleed blue. I think you'd be in good hands with him. So that's my recommendation. He didn't really know I was going to say any of this today, but I think he's the man for the job. Very well respected, has good relationships with all the other agencies. So my goal is I'm taking burn PTO right now off and on every other week. I'll do that for a period of time. My wife needs a knee replacement, so now I'm throwing her name out there. But I'm going to wait for her to get the knee replacement, make sure she's all healed up medically and stuff for insurance reasons. And then when everything's good there, it'll be I'm hoping to make it till next April. I can't guarantee that right now, but it's been an honor. I'm trying not to tear up. You know, being able to work where your grandfather was chief of police, you can't put a monetary value on that. You just really can't. Died in the line of duty. George was kind enough to find the archive paperwork in the library when he was appointed the first chief of police when we established our court system and whatnot in 1936. I told Rob in the interview 39, but it was 36. And I have that hanging in my office. It has truly been an honor to work here. That's all I had. Thank you.
Been an honor working with you, Craig. I know we met a long time ago.
We were pretty young. We both had full heads of hair. How long? He had long hair.
I did.
Mine was probably kind of long back then.
Danielle, then Jamie.
This in 97, yeah. It's been great. It really has. I mean, it's tough no matter how you do it, but.
Go ahead, Danielle.
You're going to be missed, Craig, and I think you did a great job with Louis and with a lot of us, your leadership, mentorship, and guidance, and the generation of leadership that you're bringing up and have brought up. And I think they'd be in good hands with Louis. And, you know, you guys keep my kiddos safe over there, but you also keep the community safe. So your commitment to our people hasn't gone unnoticed, and truly respect and appreciate the work you've done there.
Thank you.
Jamie.
I just want to say the same thing, Craig. Over the years, I mean, the drug issue over the years, both on a personal level, like with my daughter and other family members, and on a professional level, I just appreciate you working, answering any question. You had an open door policy, so you're definitely going to be missed. But I also know that Louis he was right there with the same thing, being helpful and being there. So I agree. He would be the perfect person.
Right.
Go ahead, Carol.
Thank you, cousin.
You're welcome.
Well, with that, I appreciate the update from George, the city manager. That some very welcome issues that you got there. And thank you, Craig. Always thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Rob. Morning, Jim.
Is that showing up on your screens?
Every day, the terrain and beauty of the Flathead Reservation reminds us of this very special place. From the Mission Mountains to Flathead Lake and downstream to the Flathead River, we follow the peaks, ravine.
There we go. Afternoon, morning, council, Mr. Chair. I want to introduce you to Jim Arrow, who I think some of you know. Jim's been involved with the tribes for a long time. He was IT director at SKC, very active in their fundraising activities and their growth through the years, and always been involved in many activities, a man of many talents. He was involved in the language keyboards. He worked with Vernon and Thompson Smith and helped develop some of the original language fonts, and still working with IT on further developing and shaping that in his retirement. And he worked up a model for me in 3D of SKQ Dam, which I have at home, and is really impressed me. And in the conversation and keeping up with his hobby, he has this vision that I thought was important to bring. So thank you for finding time to hear his presentation and his offer today. And that chair goes higher if you want. It looks awfully low. I noticed George looked really short in that chair.
Okay. Hi. Good to see you.
There you go. So I'll turn this over to Jim Arrow and go from there.
Council, Chairman Dolson, thanks for making time to visit with me and let me show you a new idea that I've cooked up in my office. As many of you know, as Rob already said, my name is Jim Arrow. I grew up in Ronan, graduated in '72, and Uncle Sam stole me for a few years. When I came back, I worked with Jerry Slater at Two Eagle teaching photography. And then I started when SKC was first started at the old elementary building before Joe moved down. And then I wandered away to Wyoming for a few years, came back, started full-time with SKC, worked as an instructor and then the IT director for 15 years. And then for 20 years, I worked for a communication firm in Missoula, doing a lot of different things, one of which was an economist, which I never believed I'd ever do. But now I'm retired and doing other projects, which is what I'd like to show you today. And as mentioned, as Rob mentioned, I worked on the fonts for quite a long time, but you notice my head, my hands, I've got essential tremors. I can't do that kind of work anymore. So I'm doing stuff that is, I can actually perform. So today, what I wanted to show you is a little project work on this 3D relief map of the reservation. And we've got a short little video to show you that'll give you an overview what it took to create it. How do we do a rewind? Let Rob run the mouse because I can't.
Rivers, draws, and plains over a very wide variety of landscapes. Our close view of this landscape expands.
Okay.
There we go.
Every day, the terrain and beauty of the Flathead Reservation reminds us of this very special place. From the Mission Mountains to Flathead Lake and downstream to the Flathead River, we follow the peaks, ravines, rivers, draws, and plains over a very wide variety of landscapes. Our close view of this landscape expands as we look at topographic maps that describe this terrain both in greater detail and over a far more expansive range than our eyes can visually grasp. A topographic map describes terrain as a series of elevation lines that, when connected, appear to represent stacked layers of varying dimensions. If each of these elevation contours is assigned a specific grayscale value from white to black, then the gradual slope of the terrain begins to appear. The grayscale map is programmatically converted into a three-dimensional model that encompasses the reservation boundaries. That 3D model is subsequently divided into 16 quadrants, each approximately 1 foot square. Each quadrant of the model is imported into special 3D printing software that slices the model into layers for printing. A 3D fused filament printer operates by melting a strand of recyclable plastic in multiple layers to recreate the three-dimensional object. For the CSKT relief model, most printed layers are 1/10 of 1 millimeter thick. In other words, 1 inch of model height requires 254 layers of filament. This time-lapse video shows a 1/4 size quadrant being printed. The inside of the topo relief model is composed of a grid for support. Each quadrant required approximately 2.5 days to print, which resulted in nearly 30 days of continuous 24/7 printing. This actual speed video shows how the printing bed drops and raises to allow the print head to move. Each quadrant required approximately 1/2 kilogram or 500 feet of filament. The 16 quadrants were glued together, puttied, and sanded. The finished model is 4 feet by 4 feet square and 3 inches tall. When the model topography was engineered, the height of the terrain was expanded 40% to allow finer details, such as streams or deposition planes, to appear. In addition, the expanded model height presents a more visually compatible view, similar to what we see driving down the valleys.
Well, I got it done. It took about 5 years to do it because it's a sort of a complex process. And now I got to figure out what to do with it. I did this because I needed a good challenge in retirement. And it's, as someone once told me, what you're doing is not about the destination, it's about the journey. So I've got this done. I don't really have a place to put it. I don't want to sell it because I don't want to see it hanging in a 10 million or know about it hanging in a $10 million cabin on the lake. So I'm trying to find someone that can display it for other people to look at. One of the things that when I go to museums or visitor centers is when they have a relief map like that. I really love it because when I'm hiking in the mountains, it's tough to see what it is you're surrounding you. And when you look at the relief maps, you can touch them, you can look at all the draws and remember what it was like. So I visit with a few people over the years. I made a relief map of the bison range for DNRC, and I mentioned about this, and they were interested in it. But David Rockwell mentioned, well, the visitor center at the bison range would be a great place for it. And of course, you could put it at Three Chiefs for kids to look at, or any of a number of different places. So I didn't want to be the one to choose who would get it. But in the meantime, I thought, well, I'm never going to do this again. It just took too much time, too much cost and everything to do it. So this is the one that'll probably ever be made. And I don't know that many other people are going to go to the trouble to do it. But if you want multiple entities to have one, I experimented with a process for molding that and replicating it. So I have this little sample I brought that you can look at that is the Mission Dam area. And the first attempt at molding I did with a traditional process, and it's with silicone where you put the map down and then you pour silicone over it. It's quite heavy. This kind of mold for this would be about 400 pounds. So I don't think that would be a reliable way. This is a casting from that silicone mold done with resin. So it's pretty tough. There's different kinds of resins you can use. This one, and I accidentally dropped it, is made out of concrete. I poured concrete into the mold and made it that way. The silicone mold also supports low temperature metals, so you could pour it in pewter or something like that. But I got to thinking, well, I need a better way to advise someone how molding works. So this particular mold, you paint on, instead of pouring it around the model, you paint it on in layers. And then you make a hard support material for it. It costs quite a lot less. It's a whole lot less weight, and it allows you to make a relatively easy casting out of whatever. Who would do this? I don't know. I don't have the facilities, the time, or anything to do it, but maybe someone in the tribe might want to take it on as a project, or you could contract it out possibly. So with that in mind, I don't know what to do with it next, so I'm here for your advice and feedback and guidance on what to do with it, and we'll go ahead and uncover it now so you can see what it looks like. Well, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to drive along the side of the circle. There is coming out of High Park Lake and other areas that you just don't see that carving going on. So my partner Susan is a geologist, and she tells me, well, when you look through this, you look up at Elmo around Chief Cliff, and you can see how that whole area was carved out going over to Lone Pine. You can see exactly where the glacier stopped when it came down, because it ground all that down to about there and nothing there. So for education, place names, you can put, sorry, not on. Okay. So for place name development, some people put pins with little flags.
You could also drill a little hole and put an LED light in with a button. So you press a button, it says where is this place, and it'll light up. So there's a lot of different ideas. I don't know that you'd want to do any of that with this original model, but if you made some replicas, it would be easy to modify them for a number of different purposes. So that's it. Yeah, I almost ran over you on the walking path with my bike. Yeah, and they, little things, coming out of Mission Dam, you can see this whole sedimental layer that goes down into the valley down in there. When you think about when you're driving up Post Creek Hill, boy, Post Creek looks pretty, it's barely a blip on here. I didn't do the depth on the lake because that becomes too problematic. I'm still working on it, just something with Platted Lake, but that's a big project. I haven't cracked that yet. So if you're amenable, I'd like to donate it to you guys pro bono. Just find a home for it that that people will be able to see and think about. Yeah, people running their hands over it, and I might wear it down after a few years. This is just plastic, and it's got a millimeter of thickness, and under that is just support. So someone with a hammer or rock could easily damage it. And that's why, if you could find someone who would be willing to do a molding process, that would be the ideal way. And maybe, some artistic types. Maybe SKC has a program that might want to take it on. I don't know. Yeah. The molding process, the cost to do the paint on would probably be about $800 to get enough materials to do a paint on. And then casting it, maybe $500-600, depending upon the material you wanted and how tough you wanted it to be. And after it's cast, and you could paint to put snowy white tops on it and blue for the lake on this model too. It could be painted over with an airbrush painter. Or you could leave it as is, cast it, and then paint that resulting model. Yeah, well, I actually had it started on a vinyl overlay, clear overlay, and paint the roads and everything on it. So you can just roll it out over and see where the highways and roads are, but I'm too shaky to do that, so I didn't do that. But that wasn't the only way you could have multiple overlays. You could actually have one overlay with place names, one overlay with roads and streets, and then you could just stick with just this model and you wouldn't have to cast it. What's that? Yeah, I have all the original files, and you're welcome to have them. It took to do this, each quadrant took about 2.5 days to print. It took about a month and a half of 24/7 printing, which Mission Valley Power really, really, really liked me. They charged me surcharges for it. And it took maybe 12 spools of filament to get it done. So it's definitely someone with the right equipment can take the files and print their own. Oh, you're welcome. Glad I could find a home for it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Figured you were over. That could be ideal. That's our agenda for this morning, right? So we're on break until 1 o'clock.
And then I think it's executive for that discussion. So if we can go into executive, we'll be there when you come back.
Okay. You want executive now? Is that what you're saying? We'll go out of regular into executive.
All right, good afternoon, council. I know this is not real fun stuff today. So what we started talking about in March, in our adopted, what we call policy and procedure that governs financial, there's place in there for budget development specifically. And this was originally adopted in 2008, right after the budget ordinance was adopted. So it simply went to kind of all the steps and process in place. We then had to go in and make revisions to terms. So for instance, position titles and other parts of that were still in there. So we're just trying to have it conform to how the organization changed after 2021. Also too, in the authorized officials, the setting of the budget committee itself, by practice that it had evolved, you did have 4 appointed members. So in this 1.2.3, we then just went with a informal practice to say, well, any council members can attend. So if the actual appointed people weren't there, as long as we had the quorum of at least 3 budget committee, which means 2 council, because the only other person there is the director of finance. If the executive officer or her designee, in that case, Jordan, or maybe perhaps one of his staff, they're non-voting. So we have to always have at least 2 council there. So just getting your approval to, formally adopt that revision. And then as we move kind of forward, whoops, sorry, that skipped so hard. We start getting into kind of some more terms. They're used, I think it said tribal fund. We then have, been saying to for quite a few years now, general fund means all tribal funds, no matter from which they originate. And then you're further distinguished by if it's federal funds like self-governance, you understand what those are, identified accordingly. Spelling out the timeline, putting forth all of the steps that we have been following to some degree, and I do say it that way, to some degree. There are parts in here that were noted by some of our budget committee thus far about, does council actually approve the annual work plans? And my answer to that is, I don't know. When they are submitted to us, we're asking for them far in advance of March 31st, because that's launching them into, then they develop their budget based on their planned activities. So moving along through that, there is some things here that have always been here, but I'm going to point them out
because it does go to how programs and individuals attempt to seek resources. Whether they want, I need a new program, I want a contribution, I want to increase that, I want to go for that, whatever it may be. We talk about in terms of these recurring, which means it's already happening. So maybe say program A says, yeah, I have that, but I'd sure like more because I'm wanting to do more. Non-recurring, meaning it's not happening at all, but it's going to be requested. And then what we define as unmet needs in the progress of the budget submittal itself. So programs not very often will define what they say is an unmet need. So they will do their budget for what their current operations are. Then they will describe something that they say is needed, which kind of in practice, I've more or less pressed them. If it's needed, it should be in your budget. So, just do it that way. When we have decided budget targets and then the actual preparation ensues, we then get to June 1st is our deadline. It has been for years now. More or less solidifies it in here to say by June 1st, we're going to have budget submittals. This year, however, we've had to do some varying because of what is actually going on in the real world. We've got a thing called the federal appropriations, which we're seeing very concerning, not very positive beginning of that with the president's budget. We then saw the House Subcommittee on Interior mark up to that, which thankfully marked it up, but it didn't get it even to fiscal 25 level. And we're awaiting the full House appropes and then the Senate Subcommittee or full committee on what it might do with Indian programs. So we're trying to kind of allow at least some hints of what might come. Overall, the picture doesn't show very positive. So what we've chosen to do is separate our discussion of allocation on the self-governance agreements with BIA and IHS into separate allocation discussions with the departments. We're going to hold that June 10th. And then on June 17th at regular budget committee, then the budget committee will get to take up what came out of those discussions. And that'll come before we can approve or recommend any final allocation targets for those. Got a lot of things to address in both of those. So it's a different step this year. So in all, it's saying that no later than the 15th, we're hoping to be before you, and that will be a very ambitious target to meet if we can do that this year. We will try our best to do that. The main thing is that we ourselves need time before the close of the fiscal year to get all of the budgets in place for posting. So then October 1, the program is just go on as usual. There's no waiting or delay because most of our programs are like that. They don't have a cooling off or a wait period that we could meaningfully impose. So we put it on ourselves to get that all done. Compact funds, again, trying to allude to what has been in place, has not been absolutely followed. We're supposed to share with departments and programs what the president's budget said. We did do that this year. Noted the very serious things that the president saw the world as, and I hope didn't upset too many people. Trying to clarify, that's just his more or less policy statement, and I think it doesn't take a lot of guessing to know where it was going. And then just letting them know we're going to move forward on the same funding agreement, which is a 5-year. When I do the re-up, so last year when I had the draft 26 to 30, they saw the agreement. They saw at least the fiscal 26 estimated funding. So annually, I do share with them what the funding amounts are estimated to be, which, as we've said, don't change a whole heck of a lot. So the June 30th, if we are in a negotiation year, which you did this last year, my deadline is to have it before you. And I think it was June 15th or 20th. We had a lot of things delay final signature by chair. So Brian Upton and I collaborate on all of the edits, and there was numerous edits to make because of the Progress Act, which amended ISDIA. So between Brian and I, we think we'd catch them all. I'd forward it to chairman, he'd sign, and then Brian would say, wait a minute, I forgot this and I forgot that. And then we do it. So Mr. Chairman has now been forwarded, I think for the third time, the MOA that goes to the Montana Water Rights Protection Act. So that one had escaped signature and Brian had noticed that. And so Mr. Chairman has thankfully signed that and we'll get ready to get that sent off to Mr. Smith. Because as Brian said, we still don't have the 2630 funding agreement signed yet. Seems to be languishing somewhere. Contracts and grants do not come under our budget administration. Those are going to progress as contracts and grants staff are dealing with each individual case. A lot of them are not running on the same fiscal year, so that's primary reason why they're not held to the same cycle. Settlement funds, those go to, and there is an edit that needs to be put in here. I just now see it. The opioid settlement, which was just on your email earlier.
Ruth,
Go ahead.
with that, because you say that the natural resources, tribal lands and tribal preservation would meet, that's, I'm assuming on the other funds, but for the settlement funds, who would that be? Tribal health or that committee that
The
we're
committee.
forming?
Correct. Yeah, and I had to refresh myself with who was all on this very seemingly large committee. So continuing to keep, myself even somewhat abreast on opioid because it's one of our newest ones. So again, just, showing that there's reasons why, and it all goes to what the funding is and why it's there, whether there's particular conditions or requirements on that is really kind of what that's going to. So we'll make sure that we fix that one. My very able coworker, Patricia, we did a deep read of the FERC license just to kind of orient her to what that was all about. We're like, 30 years now post-settlement, the millions of dollars that were awarded, some subsequent year contributions to some of those, and kind of where we're at now, what the department and principally Whisper means as division is the one that will prepare all of the mitigation submittals and address, those needs there. And now those have to be approved in a whole separate process before we can officially say, okay, now you can adopt the budget because it passed through all of that. In administration, authority to modify. This is one, I'm going to just say, this is not how it was being done. It's saying that the authority to modify was vested in the Director of Financial Management. Well, I guess if you're speaking of process, meaning, well, officially the Tribal Health Compact budget is modified because we got additional funding awarded. But I really look at it as we continually modify the allocation without increasing or decreasing it all the time at the department's request, because it was a year ago, Tribal Health had a, say, $11 million budget, and naturally they're going to have to make adjustments as the year goes by. And I can't bring that to Greg. He would no time to do anything else. So that's just one example of that. That has not been the way it's been being done. It's saying the council will not approve any modification that results in deficit spending. So this kind of goes to, if you think of every single individual program out there, that's what the intent was in 2008. But the way we're doing it in consolidated total fashion is we're saying, well, yeah, they have an allocation and that wouldn't change unless budget committee approved an additional amount, or because of change of funding beyond our control, then I would come in and explain, well, I have to reduce that because that's all that was awarded. So significant modification, this is the one that I know departments would have something to probably, if they were pointed to this, say, would you read that and see what that means to you?
Ruth?
Yeah.
Question.
Still going through the modification. Go ahead.
Just a definition on deficit spending, is that by department, by program, or tribal wide?
In the current practice, it would be something that would be beyond what the available resources were in total. So on our last mod, for instance, the table will say total appropriations. There's a couple of lines below that we don't put in the resolution, But in our work in preparing that, we're either identifying that it was new revenue that was awarded or earned or transferred from reserves because it was available, like say third party, if third party spend had to go up. And I came in and asked for the allocation for the Anchor Way. And I said that has to come from reserved third party. So
But deficit spending is tribal wide, not
right.
program specific.
Correct.
Okay.
They shouldn't, it should not ever be allocated more than was available. So even if it was erroneously done, we'd have to cure it if we found the error. Okay, so yeah, the significant change, this is one that I expressed to Greg. I said, departments, programs out there all the time they change their organization chart. They get a new grant. They do whatever they do. Changed or differing goal, objective, priority, activity. I'm saying, well, if it's a grant program, that's outside of our administration. If it's a tribal or like if you guys said today, okay, we want Department A to pay every tribal member age 50 and over $100 a week to help with their gas. It's my dream initiative right now. Could you please help these people out with gas? And they would say, oh, okay, well, we're going to have to figure out how to do that. So I don't know if that's a good example or not, but I'm just simply, it's always going to go to what is already available. The programs are rather limited to that. The only one that I can think of that is not in their control is the actual loss or pullback of, say, an awarded amount. The tribe has not done that to my immediate recollection. So in the requesting of modification, including increased staffing, so forth and so on, they're saying that has to go to the director of financial at least 30 days prior, and then we're going to have the budget committee get involved. I would expect that the budget committee might get a lot more busy than it has been if we are going to hold strictly for the programs that are in my side of this house to follow that. So I just wanted to bring that forward. I'll just give an example. Tribal Health, Mr. Dergalo came in April and he presented a request to add a new activity called Health Promotion and Disease Prevention that to be funded out of third party. And it would start at about $300,000 a year. They were going to do enhancements to the walking tracks at Elmo and Mission and Arlee, and then buy some equipment and also pay for some activity type things, passes at the aquatic center, some event registration, entry fee type things for youth and other such participants. And so I was telling Patricia, I said, if he's able to cover that in his current allocation of third party that Tribal Health is using, no need to do anything. Council already approved the addition of the new activity. I said, but if they don't think they can do that and they need additional appropriation, I said that has to go to the council because they have to approve that appropriation. So kind of envisioning how this would look, I thought it sounds like it's just extending a process. I'm telling him, go get council to approve it. And then he was asking, well, if there needs to be additional money, what do I do? I said, I think I'm going to have to move you to the budget committee. And there was another request in a BIA funded program where that person asserted they needed more resources. And I'm telling her, I said, that's going to have to go to the budget committee before it can, keep moving. So I just kind of get a little concerned about if there was immediate or very urgent need. I'm not so naive to think if it was that immediate and urgent, council is already probably talking about it and they're committing to some course of action, and then budget committee would simply look at, well, what resources should we meaningfully make available without risking, other things. That's, really the role of budget committee. But we can't invent money. We already know what's there. So just trying to, just pointing this all out and how we have not held to this process in quite some time.
Somebody invents
New
money.
funding, oh, here's the best one of all, brand new. I'm here on behalf of whatever, I would like $50,000 for whatever. Those have to go to budget committee. I also, do understand and respect your authority to grant or otherwise make available whatever resources, whenever, however. When those come back our way, our job is then to meaningfully allocate it somewhere. We will always do that by consulting who it is we're gonna tack it onto. It's not just a done deal. And also to let council know, yeah, we're gonna cover that over here and it's all good and life goes on. So yeah, just pointing out that whole 6.4 there. I know that programs also sort of allude to that, maybe in their conversations with you on certain issues. They may say something about new funding, more funding, additional funding. So just, kind of pointing that out. Reallocation is kind of, we're doing that one a lot. We do it, we did it a lot this year in order to make new and emergency amounts available in general fund. So those, would always be fully discussed before anything would ever be done. And again, emergency and special needs, kind of similar, not a little different, but very similar. And also reconciling, this goes to, needing the programs and the entities out there that have a allocated budget to be monitoring it, to make sure it is correct and to do the monthly, says reconciliation, we call it certification, and to, help us keep things on proper track. So. Any questions?
Questions? Greg?
I don't have a question, but I guess I do have a comment or a suggestion to toss out on the floor for the council to consider. And that is, we've had periodic discussion about not just the work plans for next year, but the annual reports that were due at the end of last year. So as we wade through the budget process, we're armed with two sets of information. One is, this is what you did last year, and this is what you're proposing to do next year. So it strikes me that maybe what we should do is take council action to direct our executives to compile two things. One are the annual reports with this is what you said you were going to do, and this is what you did. So it's a comparison of those things, right? Second pile of things is going to be then the proposals, or I should say the work plans for the upcoming year, and how those differ from the current work plan. So it's highlighting those modifications.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it takes this ton of information and boils it down to some executive summaries for us. So that might be a good tool to have to kind of kickstart the discussions or to get some visibility into the budget requests for the upcoming year. Is understanding what has been done and what is being proposed to be done. Not just the numbers that are associated with that, but the purposes, the goals, the objectives.
Danielle?
If I was an executive, I would understand it.
I think I see where you're going with it, Greg, and I think when I'm looking at it's 2.1.3 on here, tribal programs begin to development of work plans to address the initiatives. It says that the planning goals adopted by the tribal council for the upcoming financial year, for the coming financial year. I think our executives should be strongly involved with that, be reviewing those as they're being submitted. And I don't know if maybe that's the spot on here to say reviewed by executives, and then adopted by tribal council. And then that puts that string in there where the executive teams need to know and understand what's going on in all of their programs. That I would hope that's in the job descriptions. I haven't read them in a while. I know I've got copies, but that just adds that spot, I think. That would be my suggested edit.
We'll note that, Ms. Matt.
Great, go ahead.
Yeah, and before we go any further, I just want to get ahead of the punch and thank Martin for not pointing out that I missed the last two budget committee meetings. Beat you to it.
You haven't made it to any budget committees is what the correction should be. I said you haven't made it to any budget committees.
Mr. Chairman, I'm thankful that that issue came up. The budget committee is seen as a working committee. I was sharing with Patricia in the past years when we had the active budget committee in the early years. I create these accordion files just full of paper. It's all on paper. We had meetings almost weekly at times. But in budget development, that's how I really see the primary role, because it's kind of that high level engagement of the leadership to this process, which is now, what is our tribal is 104 million to start, and we haven't even gotten into the other ones yet. So water compact, I forgot to mention, is another focused discussion on how we're going to put all that together. Continuing to fit in what this state PL 280 funding is going to hopefully positively impact tribal spending. We'll be revisiting tribal spending. I know we will once we get through the compacts, because there's impacts there that'll spread over. So yeah, this year is really unusual. And I know early on, it was even suggested the budget committee had to meet more than once a month. We are trying to be, mindful of your schedules that are already very full, and trying to confine the meetings to a very compressed time. We had a good informal meeting with Danielle and with Jordan. We covered a lot of, really important things that we were questioning, even trying to get to better understanding. So your willingness to engage on this, we greatly value that. We'd be willing to hear, are there better other times to meet? We were trying to go with a recurring same day of the month meeting. But as things sort of, shift around, maybe we've got to, rethink that. So just sort of wait for your feedback on that. Because it's not set in policy. It's truly, my endeavor is that this is the council's committee meeting, not my meeting. It's defined here, and we want to work with that.
I like where you have it, Ruth, right now. I'm sorry, I forgot the last time. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, the thought just occurred to me that more often than not, on the chairman's meetings on Monday, we have most of the council here. And those meetings typically go about half a day.
Not good.
So why not tack on to the end of the chairman's meeting, budget committee? That way, any of the council members that want to stay for that can sit in or not. But it would coincide, and we could even review that stuff on a weekly basis as opposed to a monthly basis. So that is just occurred to me, because quite often our Monday afternoons are not consumed by the chairman's meeting. So
We do have health committee on one of those afternoons.
And our Wednesdays are completely open. The third Wednesday of the month, we have nothing scheduled.
I know. Just let me know. Yep. Let us know. So we will, Mr. Chairman, if I can, we will take another little dab at this. We'll clearly highlight what we just changed, so that you don't have to pour through every single change. And make sure that if you're ready to adopt that, I'll schedule some time after we just do kind of an email share of that. Get all, mostly your, at least your affirmation, you saw it. And maybe schedule, another week from now to come back for formal adoption.
Sounds good.
All right. We can do that.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you. Is there anything else we could cover before we move on? Nope. Okay. I keep trying to grab this pen. It's taped. That's not my pen. I'm looking out of only one eye because I got an infected eye today. All right.
Break. We got 5 minutes. I think we can go ahead and start. Come on up. SKC stick game, Mr. Weatherwax. Welcome. Everybody.
Once again, we're here to do an update on the stick game tournament we had at SKC over here at the center next door. We had a pretty good turnout. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Sharon over here and give you some numbers on what we all done. And
Hi, my name is Sharon Pataxel. I'm a junior at SKC. I'm the stick game treasurer. I've been the stick game treasurer for the past 3 years, and I recently got reelected into the 2027 year. And I have been here since the beginning, and I have truly watched how big and how large our stick game club has grown in our community alone, in the college, and in the community outside of the college. And we've recently, this year, we've begun able to expand, directly influencing and impacting the youth and children. And so this year we had a very large and successful tournament. We had the largest tournament that we've ever had. And we wanted to come in today and say thanks because the CSKT tribe, you guys contribution, everything, and specifically Greg Spar, they truly helped us out. And from the last council meeting that we had here in February, we met with you guys, and you guys are able to connect us with a bunch of our large donors. So this year alone, like instead of having to do smaller crowd surfing and crowd raising, crowdfunding, we were able to go directly and interact with the tribal headquarters, with CEOs of the large corporations throughout the tribe. And those contributions, we were able to lead and go to Dixon and Hot Springs and teach the youth there and teach them stick game and be able to interact with them because they don't get a lot of that support. They're one of the schools that are usually left behind due to how small they are. And we were able to get connected with the education department. They became a large supporter of our cause. They donated $3,000 to us. And with that, we were able to throw our first ever kids tournament. And because we had such a large donation, we didn't have to charge the kids entry fee. And all the kids who played in our stick game tournament, they all won something, every single kid. We had 6 teams and a 3 to 5 man, and they walked away with money, cash, prizes. They had rattles, they had blankets, they had everything. It wasn't just money. The first place kids, there was only 4 members on their 5 man. So their pointer, they got a whole extra stick game set. Each person on that winning team, they got a whole stick game set. And we weren't able to do that without you guys. And so we just wanted to come in and show like all the money and the resources you guys gave us, we used, and we did everything we could to throw this successful tournament. And so just alone on our whole tournament, we were able to raise $25,000 and $700,000. And from entry fees alone, from all the teams and registrars and everyone who came in to support, that was $15,700. And the support that you directly led us to with your resources from Eagle Bank, Education Department, CSKT, I always mess up, CNK Technologies, there you go, and Energy Keepers Inc. We were able to raise $11,300 with the last meeting that we came in with you guys. And so all that money we were able to throw back into the account and throw back into our tournament and be able to give those out. And we also were able to capitalize on profits. We gave away a lot of the money, but we weren't worried about the future and be able to sustain this. And so for our club profits, we were able to raise $3,000 slowly in just our own. Our vendor fees, we had 16 vendors. We raised over $2,325. And our club merchandise that we have, our new club hoodies, at the tournament, we sold 725 hoodies, but before that, we were already almost sold out. We raised over $2,300, and all that money is for next year that we're able to carry over so that we're able to continue this tournament. And so on Friday, we had a 4-man team and 40 teams, and that's only registered players. We had 160 registered players, but that's not including our vendors, the people that showed up to have food, and for our craft vendors, and for the people that came in and just to watch and support. And so we had people on Saturday, we had a 5-man, and we had 39 teams, and that's 195 registered people. And then on Sunday, 3-man, same thing, 40 teams. We had 120 people. And so for the adults that registered, we had 475. And then the kids on Friday, that's 30. And so this whole tournament, just registered people alone, we were able to help support and provide a cultural event, a drug-free event, and be able to bring back stick game to the tribe and bring back stick game to the campus. And so this right here, it's not our most recent update because our numbers haven't been encumbered because we work directly with the Quatucknuck, with they're partners with the school. And so we have a room block with them for our stick game tournament, and we completely sold that out. We sold out the entire resort, not just our room block. The Quatucknuck was sold out, all the hotels were sold out, and even Airbnbs, they were booked. It was hard for people to try to be able to get a room to stay here for that weekend. And so it truly was a massive event. It was so big that we've outgrown the SKC Stick Game Club gym. We used all available chairs on campus, and even then people still had to resort to sitting outside for their own chairs or sitting on the bleachers. Like, it truly was the largest event that we could have had. And so this year we upgraded to security to be able to provide a safe event for them, because that was our #1 priority. We wanted to make sure this was drug-free, alcohol-free, and just a safe place for kids, elders, and the adults to be able to enjoy their culture and reconnect it without worrying about these outside influences. And so I just want to say thank you guys for your support, and we want to say thank you just for everything we could have done. And we want to come in here today and be able to ask to continue that support and ask you to form a partnership with each other, because we love being able to say that the tribe is our biggest contributors. Everyone noticed how large our tournament was, because we ran out of chairs, we ran out of room. They were going outside of the gym to even continue playing. And so they were like, how did you guys be able to do this? And we told them the tribe, like the tribe helped us up. We were able to connect us with all these right people. And I'm a third-year junior. Gaining my bachelor's in my business degree, and I was communicating with the CEO of Eagle Bank. I was communicating with the CEOs of all these large companies to be able to carry forward and make sure that everything was secure. And so we just wanted to show and just show how large our club has gotten, because this was our third annual tournament and this was our first kids tournament. And in 2024, that was our first spring tournament. But we did have a tournament before that, which was our Halloween tournament. And we wanted to throw that just to be able to have something for the community. And that was only a few $100s. And those same people from our community members that supported us then are still carrying over these past 3 years and still coming in. They're still coming in. They're wanting to know what we're doing next. They want to know what our hoodie designs are, what our merchandise are. And we are the largest, most active club on campus. And that's just a fact. And in 2024, we had on our Friday, we had 26 teams, and then our 5-man on Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Danielle, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say you guys have my full support and I love what you're doing over there. And it's great to get the kids involved and keep them involved. And I just have to apologize. I didn't want to get up and leave without saying something. I do have to go pick up my grandkid, but keep up the good work. It's amazing what you're doing.
Drive safe.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I just wanted to show that from our first tournament alone, we've grown so much. And with the last tribe's contribution, we were able to just jump and grow. Like we did not expect how large our tournament was going to be this year. And with your guys' support, we were able to do that. So we just really wanted to come in and say thank you.
So what's the next one gonna look like?
We're be getting some more chairs, hopefully, and yeah. Also, would like to say is these vendors that came in, half of them was tribal members and also members from other tribes that came down. So there was money coming back in through the tribes, through local businesses, and local vendors came in, and a lot of good stuff. I like looking at those vendors because you never know what you're gonna see with the creations.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Mylan, you got anything to say?
Go ahead, Jamie.
I just had a quick question. You said through the education department, you guys did Hot Springs and Dixon. Are you going to do other schools?
That was with Michelle, and she had only kind of strategized for those 2 schools as of at that point.
Okay.
But in the future, we're looking to expand and, hopefully knock off some more schools, north, south, so.
Thanks. Well, and then I just did want to say that was the opening of the 400 horses. And so we had the chairman of the National Indian Gaming, and their crew stopped by there and they had nothing but great things to say about that tournament that was going on.
Wow. Wow, we didn't even know that. And to, we understood that was a big weekend for Quatucknuck. And despite that, they still were pretty impressed with how well we did with the room block. They worked with us really well, and they made that part of it real easy for us as well. And I just kind of want to echo what Sharon was saying. This was the largest student-ran event in all of TCU's tribal colleges and universities. And without your guys' support, without your guys' help, Greg Spar, everybody here, leading us and pointing us in the right direction to be able to really revitalize that aspect of this culture that we're part of. It's been a traditional game for us since the beginning of time. It was, something that me and I think the rest of us won't stop bragging about. And so again, we can't thank you guys enough for your guys' support and expressing our gratitude from here on.
as long as we have this partnership, as long as this tournament continues the way it does, you know, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So again, thank you.
Great, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys, as well. I'm not a big stick game player, but I'm a huge supporter of anything that brings tribal people together in a healthy way, in a way that builds relationships, that builds respect. And what you guys did over there is pretty amazing. And I can't help but get the feeling that it wasn't that it was a stick game tournament. My sense is that if you guys applied yourself to just about anything, you'd be able to knock it out of the park. So I just want to thank you for that. You're young, energetic. You're saying all the right things. I'm just amazed and thankful. You made my day again.
We appreciate that, Greg. So we're gonna move forward here. Right now, we're doing hide raffles, $1 tickets, and we're getting our fundraising early this year, and we just like to get a meeting with Greg Spar again and talk about some things with the S&K technologies. If if they can work with us, the casinos can work with us, and we can team up on getting this tournament a lot bigger because it's getting big, and we're bringing in cash and everything like that. So we was thinking, whatever we come up with, if they can meet us halfway with the cash.
Jamie?
I know that some of our corporations, probably some that you've already reached out to that Greg helped you with, they actually, their criteria is that it is exactly something what you guys are doing. And if you talk to their financial person, they could probably put you on a yearly, like an annual donation. So I would ask that from each of the corporations that you talk to.
Also, when's a good time to meet with, is it like a good time for the physical year for the new funding that comes in every year? Or is it like October, September? Like, still got some questions.
Our fiscal
Well,
year
definitely
is 10/1 and 9/30, so it's a regular part.
I'm happy to meet with you and to continue the spirit of this collaboration and continue to encourage you along the way and set the right tempo for year-round activity to make you successful or maintain your success.
Okay, also, I didn't really introduce ourselves well. So Mylan Kaya here, he's the vice president. We have Ezra Fasthorse over here. He's our secretary. I'm the president. And then Sharon here, she takes care of our cash. She's the treasurer. So we're trying to keep things organized. So yeah. Other two, so Tiffany here, she's part of the Stick Game Club. And then Brian's our guy that keeps us together here. He's our advisor. So Brian, would you like to say anything? Would you like to say anything?
Just a big giant lemon lunch. He's only 300 plus years old. Stick game, and then in my research, it's 14,000 years old, documented in the state of Washington, where they found the Slaha set or Stalaka stick game set. It was made out of mastodon bones. And our songs that come from here We've had our songs have been with us since the beginning of time. A lot of those songs they evolved with the stick game too. So our stick game is a part of our strong traditional leg since the beginning of time, even longer than powwow. So and powwow is awesome too. I like to dance, okay? But I'm just saying that stick game is a part of us since the beginning of time with our song. Thank you.
And thank you, Brian, for keeping these guys in line. Right, Martin.
Probably be the first positive thing I've said all day, but yeah, thank you guys for, these guys get that joke, you guys wouldn't. Always so positive here. Yeah, thank you guys for all that you're doing. I know some of you guys went down to Missoula last year during the Bear Tracks Bridge celebration. I'd invite you guys down there again. Hopefully the weather will be a lot warmer than it was last time. And we'll be able to, maybe do some open games during the actual day or something over on that grass. But yeah, definitely extend that invitation to you guys again. So thank you.
I guess I wonder about one thing. I know over in the library, there's a short video called The Legend of the Stick Game. You guys use that?
Legends of Stick Game?
Legend of the Stick Game. It's a short video. It's in the library.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it for sure now. It got me interested. Got any? Well, I'd just like to say again, thanks. And I just recently went over to Spokane Tribes over there. We went to their stick game last weekend and it was a good turnout. We definitely learned some new things and we seen the youth stick game champions over there still going good. So those kids are on the right path there. Yeah, youth material game was a good one. So that's something we're probably going to bring back to our stick game tournament is going to have the youth point out for a material game. Got anything to say with your youth tournament there, Tiffany?
Yeah, the youth tournament went really good. There was we had a mix and match with the youth because there was only so many. There's parents that were coming with their kids that only had one or two children, so we had to sit there and match all the kids up. And it was at first it was kind of stressing, but it turned out to be really good. It was really good because we had the parents we told them not to coach them, not to be telling them how it was so they had to come in and play, and the turnout turned out just perfect. There was a group of girls that came up out of nowhere. They didn't know there was only one of them that played before. The other four girls didn't know what they were doing, and that girl coached them the whole thing. And they turned around and they came up from the back door in won second place. And so they were all happy about that because they were the group that won the hand drums. But there was all the 6 teams. They all they said they would won. They got cash. They all got prizes, and their parents are all sitting there asking if we were going to be doing it again next year. And these guys are saying I'm looking forward to actually starting to doing a material game for the openings for the kids again. But it was an awesome turnout. I liked it. It was fun, and I would like to do it again.
All right, well, yeah, that's about it there. And when we told we stopped the whole money games, and this was a good core memory, and we were just naming out all the kids there, and we just for first place, man, those kids were just and it was all the way till 12 in the morning. So yeah, they were still having fun. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
I do want to add something though. This tournament, it's not just a few hours long. This is a 3-day event. Friday night, we opened up, I think I want to say 5 p.m. registration. The tournament ended at 9 a.m. And then the registration the next day opened up at 12 a.m. And then the next same thing happened. It ended 12 p.m. Sorry, 12 p.m. And then it went on until the same again, 4 a.m. And then Sunday, it kept on running late. So just our little club, our little team, we ran a 72-hour event just back to back to back. And just Saturday alone, we had a shootout game for where all the community members, they came in and bet, and we were in charge of the pot. Saturday alone, I was in charge of and managing $30,000. And so we all those people that bet, some people are one pointer. He came in and bet 4,000 on himself for just one single game that he pointed. And so, yeah, it was just, this is just a real big event. This is a lot of work. And, we are full-time students right now. It's our final season. It's the start of finals. Our finals are getting released. So, we do this for the love of stick game. We do this for the love of our community and, for the love of the kids. And we want to be able to bring stick game back and for this to carry on even after we're gone. So thank you.
Just to piggyback off of what Sharon said, before we had approached you guys in February, our goal was to just get to 10,000. Last year, our club only got to 7,000. And after our meeting here, that following week, we had hit our mark by Thursday. We had talked to Energy Keepers and Eagle Bank, and they had both already submitted the paperwork for their donation, and we reported that back to our advisor Brian, and he was just blown away. And again, echoing what she said, our goal was 10,000. We handled over $32,000 that weekend, and on top of that, it's just. We stimulated this local economy in a way that hasn't been done, and by students, nonetheless, not faculty, not administration. We're working, we're full-time students, and we have our finals week next week. That wasn't. Yeah, we also had our midterms that week as well, and we didn't want to let your guys' contributions, just kind of fall short. Despite everything that we had on our plate, which was a full plate, we still showed up, and we felt though as that is the best reciprocity for your guys' contribution is for us to show up that way. So we hope that that was a great example to show you guys that your donations, your contribution, and your support is meaningful. And by us showing up in that way and delivering to the community an event like this. So again, lastly, we appreciate it. Every ounce of support that you guys, it's not mentioned a lot, but there's a lot of those people that are behind the curtains that are helping those on stage perform well, and a lot of the times you guys don't get the trophies for that. You guys don't get the shine for that. So I want to kind of put an exclamation point on that. You guys really did back us in a way that was an example of how we do it here on Flathead Res. So again, thank you.
Definitely appreciate that though. You guys were the word. One question, how's the grades?
President's lists.
4.0 all year.
4.0s.
I got Jamie and then Martin.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, one of the council's priority resolutions is, prioritizing our culture and traditions. And you guys are exemplifying that. And also, with including the youth, we need positive places for our kids to go and for you guys to provide something positive, drug-free, alcohol-free in the community is amazing. So keep up the good work.
And just kind of off your point, the local economy, Mike Claremont, who owns Cheers, is a tribal or a descendant tribal member. He's a good guy to reach out to as far as maybe support or.
Oh yeah, I know Mike fairly well, and then I think that's another kind of a strategy as we go into fall next year. We're exploring so many different other ideas and options as to who we can reach out to, on top of everybody that we've already been in contact with Greg. We're bouncing new ideas off of each other every Wednesday. Every Wednesday we have our Stick Game Club meeting next Wednesday will be our last meeting and we're gonna have a end of the school year barbecue slash open game night. So, you know, you guys are all more than welcome. It's open to the community on those Wednesday nights, just right across the street as well. So to extend an invitation to you guys like you guys did to us. So that's also open. But yeah, 5 to 10, yeah.
Starting to cook that.
And that's another thing, you know, those Wednesday nights, they start from the fall quarter all the way through the spring quarter. And we're trying only certain times and kind of special weekdays, or it might land on a birthday or, you know, whatever. We provide a meal for the community. And that's just another thing that we're trying to continue, not just for those special days, but for every day, so that, you know, we have little kids that get off at the bus at student housing right there, and they come over and they get a bag of chips and a water or stuff like that. Helping us try to figure out funding for that to continue that, not just for the tournament, but long term, week in and week out for a budget for that. Just stuff like that, you know, for the longevity of this that's in between these big events that we're hosting. So
Where's your club meet at?
at the main office, the RD3 building, the Robert DePoe building, in room 143, every Wednesday from 5 to 10.
Cool.
Yeah, you'll hear the drums.
There you go.
Well, with that, yeah, thank you guys, Lemlemsh, and I hope to see you guys next year at the tournament. I like to see you jump on a team. Yeah, Greg. We'll teach you. Yeah. Yeah. Right. But again, lastly, you know, thank you guys again. We can't show our gratitude enough. So that's, you know, mainly what our objective here today was to just come and express our gratitude. You guys don't know how much you guys helped us out. So, Husukis Kukini.
Good job and good luck on your finals.
Thank you.
Don't see Carmen here.
SNK, I thought it was SNK Gaming that donated it.
Do we got Carmen? And Jen? Jen? We got Carmen? Hello, hello. Hey, Stephen. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Council. Who may not have been here in September, we had a very successful meeting with Council. For those of you who may not know who we are, Steve Lozar obviously needs no introduction. Linda Greenwood, Jamie Burr, and I'm Carmen Mowbray from Mission Valley Ice Arena Association.
Carmen, you don't have to hold the button, it'll stay on.
Okay, thank you. Then
As
I
long
can
as
do
it's, there
that.
you go. You got it. Now you got it off. Now it's on.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing us to spend some time with you today. I'll begin with our slideshow. It's very brief. I assume you're all seeing it. All right. Those are our entire board members. You can see other names on there: Devin Huntley, Hillary Lozar, Charlie Mezia, Joel Onsager, Steve Todd, and Chuck Wall. There we are. What are we doing? Well, we're building an indoor arena for people of all ages to enjoy safe ice sports. Off-season, it will host activities like pickleball, sport camps, exhibits, and rentals open to all people in our communities. What's motivating us? Well, here's just one glimpse of a street hockey tournament, and I was there and I heard a parent say, just think how much fun these kids will have on real ice. How far have we come? We were given free land at Ridgewater, and this was a huge start. The building will cost $6.7 million. We have invested and received over $4 million from other generous local donors. Can we start building and complete the building? Yes. In addition to the generous community support, we were awarded a Department of Commerce grant that fulfilled our basic construction cost. And we've begun the process. Engineering and permitting are in progress, and wherever possible, local contractors are hired. What's next? Well, we're planning programs so when our doors open, we fill the arena with activity. We will need ongoing support for special trainings and workshops. And there are obstacles. We recognize that transportation to the facility may be out of reach for some. We want to remove barriers to participation, and we need to credit you for bringing that to our attention back in September. You made that very clear. How can you help? We're asking the tribes and others who can help to begin a conversation about creating a cooperative transportation system. And since I created this slide, I've talked to the Mission Valley Aquatics, I've talked to Mission Mountain Empowerment, and we are also looping them into this group of stakeholders who may have some resources to help formulate a transportation plan. We are planning ahead. We expect to break ground August 1st. Completion will take up to 2 years before we get kids on skates. We have time, but we must begin planning a system and budget. And thank you again for your support so far. And now we're open for some questions.
Any questions, anybody? Definitely good to see the effort and the fact that you got the money to build the building. That's great.
And that would not have happened without all kinds of support from the community.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, so once the facility is built, how are you going to keep things going? You know, organizing kids leagues or, you know, is that all volunteer or how does that, is there going to be a nonprofit organization organized around this?
It is a nonprofit. However, we will hire a program manager. It'll probably require at least one full-time person. And we have learned also that once we get constructed, there aren't a lot of grants for construction, but once you're built, a lot of grants come forward for programming and equipment. I hope that answers your question, Counselor.
It does. You're right on top of it. I was just going to say, you're doing the hard part, and that's construction. Operationally, there's a lot of things that are available, but they don't like to fund construction.
I was just gonna add, Linda just mentioned the endowment. We had one of the donors, I think we talked about this last September too, but one of the donors recognized the uphill battle of, the idea of, if you build it, they'll come. But it takes a long time to crack the nut as far as being sustainable. So what they did, the amount now is roughly $750,000 that they're set, that it's a set aside outside of the 4 million and the 2.75. That's a set aside for operational needs, not necessarily program, is to keep the thing running for, because like we said, we've talked to several of the one sheet of ice rinks, multiple sheets, throughout the state, and it takes a while, So what we're anticipating, hoping for a shorter period of time, but we think it's going to take about 5 years to crack that nut, as far as to not have to dip into, the endowment past that point. But what's a little bit different is that we do have that set aside fund to help us ultimately succeed, over time. So, yeah.
I may add to that we have solicited help from all of the Montana rinks, that we've asked them for their operating statements. They've been very forthcoming. So we have some numbers to work on, big towns, small towns. But I have to tell you, I don't think I repeated this last September when we were here. I called Glasgow, Montana at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, presuming I'd have to leave a message. No one's going to pick up the phone at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Well, a woman picked right up, and I told her who I was and what I was hoping she could help us with. And she said, "Honey, I'd love to help you, but I've already got 50 kids on the ice." Glasgow, Montana, I think there's a population of 3,500. So that motivated me to keep going.
I don't know anybody that's touched a hockey stick that just doesn't keep after it. That's something I've always heard, and I've never had that opportunity. So, Jamie, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say, if there's any questions on what it's kind of a quasi ask, of what, because the original was more of the support, and then we talked more about the transportation piece. So I was just going to elaborate a little bit on that, if that's okay. It was more of, if there's an interest in supporting the idea of transportation, basically what we're asking for is, who do we, to point us in the right direction as far as this is concerned here? Is it, would we want to talk, would you support us talking to Corky, or I'm just not sure who?
Well, definitely Corky has a lot to do with our transportation program. Jamie?
I think we also, Tribal Health just came in with, what's the name of that program that they just started? They have some funds aside that is for community events like this. So who was it? Yeah, but I guess probably talk to, Joe Durgalo is still there. Yep.
Is Corky someone we would want to interact with as well? Okay.
Just a little secret. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Corky is a part of the transportation part, which is a part of DHRD, right? So Tribal Health, and DHRD both report to the same person. I would recommend that you get a hold of Michelle Mitchell. Yeah, you'll one-stop shopping there.
Steve?
Mr. Chairman, thanks for the opportunity to visit with you. I had a bunch of old tribal council jokes. all keyed up for today's meeting, but seems to be going pretty official. So I'm going to hold off on those jokes, but I will make you personally the when April comes around for the April Fool's jokes for the tribal council. Count me in. No, in all honesty, this has been something that we've talked a lot about. That some of you I've talked to personally, as far as a couple of years ago, and I. It amazes me, when we were kids down in Dixon, we would skate out there on the slough outside of the agency, and it was just a grand time, always a grand time, and some of the kids that we spent literally days with was one of my all-time best friends, and that was Tommy Couture, and I would be remiss in not mentioning Tommy. He was one of those kids that brought with him the tribal, a balance between our tribal sense of humor and connected our families. He's gone now, and that makes me sad. But he had that ability to connect our families, and I feel grateful for that. I feel blessed for Tommy Couture, and so I've been in here and talked 3 or 4 times over the years, and I always give thanks for Tommy, who I could never sit in here without mentioning what a man he was, and to be decorated the way that he was, I still think that he should have gotten more than he did. But I just want to say it. Thanks to Tommy Couture, all those Couture kids, they were a big part of all of us Dixon kids, and for that I'm thankful.
I know you've got people coming again behind us, so I don't want to take a lot of time, but I do want to mention that your support would provide enormous leverage with respect to other foundations. We are learning that they like to back winning teams, and we feel like tribal support would go a long ways towards defining us as a winner. So thank you very much for considering us for future support. And like I said, it would definitely provide leverage that could be, your effect could be multiplied.
Go ahead, girl.
Yeah, I think council would need to discuss a contribution to the ice rink, and that takes some time. It's a budget process. We have to plan, so it'll take us a little time to figure things out, but we did do something like that with the University of Montana when we gave to the Pain Center. So we can figure something out, and we'll let you
Good.
know what we can do. Thank you.
Okay, and I before we close, I just want to make one announcement, and that as a voting tribal member, you all are guaranteed my vote for the next election. What do you say? He's standing in the BS again, and my chair used to be over there, but pretty comfortable here. I just want to personally thank you all. I know what you go through up there. I'm deeply thankful for it, and I hope the membership is as well, regardless of rinks or no rinks. I hope that they can appreciate what you do, all of you. L'aime spécial.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you all. You bet. Maybe I'll learn to skate someday.
No, Ruth, it's Ann Miller is up now. Ruth, I sent her back upstairs. I thought it was going to be a budget thing, so she was listening for the last item.
Come on up, Ann. Good afternoon.
Thank you. My only purpose here today is to introduce you to Kelly Sather, who is running for Justice of the Peace in Missoula County. I've known Kelly quite a while. She's a public defender, has been a public defender over the years, and we've known each other through that contact. And so I wanted to bring her before you and have her speak some about how she would operate a justice court, which, by the way, impacts tribal members often and tribal members from up here.
You'll need to turn that on.
There we go.
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me? Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to appear here in front of you today. As Ann stated, I am running for Justice of the Peace, Department 2. I'm running against Landy Holloway. She's been in that position for, I think, 8 or 12 years now. And as Ann stated, I've been a public defender since 1999. So I started in the Great Falls Public Defender's Office, and then I've been in Missoula County, in Missoula since 2001. And my experiences with both criminal law and civil law. I've done a lot of work with child dependency and neglect cases, involuntary commitments to the state hospital, juveniles. So I've worked in a lot of different areas, and I've come into contact with a lot of Blackfeet folks in Great Falls, a lot of the Native American population in Missoula, and I'm kind of looking forward to working with Ann and bringing some of the things she's taught me in the past and I've learned from being a public defender in Missoula to being on the bench. And also I've been sub-judging in the Missoula Municipal Court for the last couple of years. And those 3 judges have really put into place a lot of solutions-based programs. They have a traffic court. They have a case manager and a social worker now. They're helping people with driving while suspended tickets. They're helping people actually get their driver's license back so they're not back in front of the court. And that's something I would like to look at, is doing a similar traffic court like that. Another thing in the Justice of the Peace in the county system is I would be doing landlord-tenant cases, and with the cost of housing in Missoula, the amount of poverty and everything going on, I'm hoping maybe I can make a difference with some of the landlord-tenant cases also. While I could not, say what outcomes there would be, something what I'm kind of running on is being a compassionate justice. I have also worked in ICWA court a lot in Missoula County in the ICWA court. So I know a lot of people have friends and coworkers that I've worked with a lot over the years, and I've worked with the issues of chemical dependency, a lot of trauma, mental health issues, developmental disabilities. And I just feel like I could bring a lot to Missoula County and Justice Court. And I wanted to come up here and meet you and ask if there's, what issues are important to the council that maybe I could take back and look at. And if I am elected, try to implement some things in the Justice Court that would be helpful to the people on the reservation that live within Missoula County that would be affected by any of my decisions. So
If you have questions for me or, like I said, any concerns or things that you want to talk about as far as Missoula County Justice of the Peace, I'd love to hear from you.
Kelly, thank you for coming in today, and you certainly have touched so many of the issues that we talk about almost every day. Carol, go ahead.
I was just wondering, and maybe this question is more for Ann. Does Missoula County, does this court refer people to our healing court? I thought we had.
This Missoula?
Yeah, I thought we had.
We haven't had referrals from the Missoula court.
And I know we don't accept a lot of referrals, but there are some.
There's room.
And so I don't know if that would be a judge's decision or what, but it would be nice. Oh, is my mic on? Be nice to, have some kind of an agreement where you could refer our people back to our healing court if that's a possibility. I would rather see them in that trying to get healed rather than going into a facility. So.
Right. And I think that we actually kind of talked about that issue, the healing court and different things. I'm looking forward to being more solutions based, like getting your driver's license back so you're not caught in the system. Right. I think a lot of issues with fees and fines and just people get stuck in this black hole of not being able to pay the fines, and then their license gets suspended, and then they have to drive to get to work, and then they're just caught in this vicious cycle. And I think another solutions-based program would be the healing court, and I would be very interested to learn more about that and use that if I were able to as Justice of the Peace. Yeah.
And I don't know about scram bracelets and all of those things. They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, is that people have to pay that. And I understand why they have to, but it would be some way if they could do it, on a payment plan or something. I don't know, it sounds crazy, but yeah.
Right.
I know those things get expensive.
Yeah.
Glenn, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And once again, thank you for taking the time to come visit with us today. We really do appreciate that. One thing we would really, or one of many issues we would like you to remain cognizant of is many of our tribal members reside in Missoula, and many are homeless.
Yeah.
Okay. And it just seems like, at least from my perspective, that many of them are not aware or have access to a lot of the resources that they need to try to find a home and other resources, and mental health issues comes right along with homelessness. I would just hope that the court system is able to enhance a system where they'd be able to have easily access to a lot of the resources that they need, rather than automatically incarcerating them.
We could help with that.
So.
Yeah. I'm definitely would be looking for resources to help, again, have a more compassionate, solution-based approach instead of the punishment of incarceration, because that's not really helping anyone. So thank you. Yeah, Ann and I just briefly talked about, if there's grants out there that I can find to help get case managers that can work with people in front of the court, find housing, get chemical dependency help. It's just would be one more resource in Missoula that could directly help people. So yeah, thank you.
Great, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the thoughts occurred to me that that you could probably help is outside of the courtroom. What we want in place for all of the reservation area as well as our Aboriginal territory, the places that we're accustomed to and travel to frequently, is to have this seamless sense of both presence and acceptance. from the different jurisdictions and having a good working relationship so that no matter where our tribal people might be, that they're kind of a part of that same justice system, same sense of security that's in place. So the out of court interface that you might have to help create that more of a seamless environment for our experience across all of our Aboriginal territory would be a great comfort, I would think. So, and it's always good to have friends all over the place. So thank you for being here and
Yeah.
offering your friendship.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. And if I may, that's one thing, why I did reach out to Anne, because I know she's working with the municipal court judges and trying to build those relationships between Missoula and the tribe here. And my understanding is Justice Court hasn't been a part of that collaborative work, and that I would like to bring that to the table in Missoula County so that we do have that across the board. Kind of everyone's working together on some of these issues.
Any other questions or comments for Kelly? Very much appreciate. Oh, go ahead, Martin.
Any friend of Ann is a friend of mine. So.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly,
Yeah,
and good luck.
thank you. And, maybe I could come back again later. The elections, there's a primary, but there's really not a primary. It's November. And so I'm just now kind of gathering information, getting to know people, getting to know what I'm going to be doing. And so maybe in a few months this summer, I'll come back and see if I have more information.
Good, Martin.
We have a powwow or celebration in Missoula in October. It's on Indigenous Peoples Day on that Monday. We can't endorse people, but we can provide them a platform where there's people. So if you want to come and say a few words to the audience, you feel free to do that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Anything else? Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman and Council. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
So you said Ruth had one more thing?
Yeah.
We didn't, all right, that's our agenda. Jay Hoy, thank you all. Have a good weekend.